2020 proved to be an eventful year as we managed both the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic environment and the acquisition of the majority of the assets of Municipal Light and Power. That acquisition closed on October 30, 2020. This slide shows the fixed assets that we acquired from ML&P, from generation to overhead and underground distribution lines. As you can see, our generation capacity increased by 406 megawatts for a total of 937.2 megawatts, and our transmission increased to 464 miles. Substations increased by 18 for a total of 61. Overhead distribution lines increased by 220 miles for a total of 1,112 miles, while underground increased by 589 for a total of 1,424 miles. In addition, over 23,000 ML&P customers became Chugach members on that day, and we are excited to share with them the benefits of cooperative membership. We are also pleased that over 180 employees joined our Chugach team. In 2016, Chugach acquired a 10% working interest in the Beluga River Unit, a Cook Inlet gas production field. As part of the ML&P acquisition, Chugach's working interest share increased to 2/3. Hillcorp owns the other 1/3 working interest and remains the field's operator. Post-acquisition, the BRU is expected to provide approximately 50% of Chugach's gas requirements on a volume basis through 2037. With the addition of ML&P's assets, Chugach's net utility plant asset base doubled from last year and now is comprised of 59% generation and transmission, 25% distribution, 4% BRU, and 12% general plant and other, which is largely structures, transportation, office, and communication equipment. Our sales in 2020 were over 1.3 million megawatt hours, with the majority of the sales providing service to our commercial and residential members, and the remaining sales providing service to Seward. Our 2020 total sales revenue was $237.4 million. Our commercial and residential members provided approximately 96% of our revenue. Our total cost of electric service was $232.9 million. Fuel and operations and maintenance made up 64%, while the depreciation of our assets and interest on the debt to fund those assets made up 27%. We also purchased power in 2020, primarily from the Bradley Lake Hydroelectric Project, Fire Island, and ML&P prior to the acquisition, which accounted for 9% of our total costs. Our revenue, less expenses, generated a margin of $5 million in 2020, consistent with the margin generated in 2019. As a not-for-profit, member-owned cooperative, these margins will ultimately be returned to our members. Chugach issued $800 million of additional debt at a very favorable weighted average interest rate of 2.73% to fund the acquisition of ML&P's assets and related transaction costs. All of our long-term debt is at fixed rates, and with that additional debt issuance, our average interest rate on all of our long-term debt is now at 3.28%. Additionally, we made over $26 million of principal payments in 2020 on our long-term debt. Our financial ratios, MFI over I, margins for interest over interest, and TIER, times interest earned ratio, which are measures of our ability to service our short and long-term interest, came in at 1.20, while our equity ratio decreased to 13.9% due to the additional debt related to the acquisition of ML&P's assets. We are able to obtain and secure debt at low rates due in part to our favorable credit ratings. We currently have an A rating from Standard & Poor's Global Ratings and an A- from Fitch Ratings. And lastly, we are pleased to report we received an unqualified opinion from our independent auditors for 2020.